An unexpected inheritance, the cosmic cacophony. In the bustling spaceport of New Singapore, Earth's gateway to the stars, Zara Chen stood out like a supernova in a sea of comets. Her emerald eyes sparkled with determination as she adjusted her diplomatic uniform, a blend of Terran silk and Andromedan fiber optics that seemed to pulse with every breath. At 28, she was the youngest human ever appointed as Earth's ambassador to the Galactic Concordat, a feat that had raised eyebrows across multiple star systems. Ambassador Chen, a gravelly voice crackled through her neural implant. Your presence is requested in Docking Bay Epsilon 9. Urgent communique from Concordat High Command. Zara's heart raced as she strode through the crowded terminal, her footsteps echoing against the transparent aluminum floors. Holograms flickered around her, advertising the latest in xenobiotic cuisine and faster-than-light vacations to the rings of Kepler 16 bits. She barely noticed the curious glances from aliens of 1,000 different species, her mind focused on what could possibly warrant such an unusual summons. As she entered Docking Bay Epsilon 9, Zara gasped. Before her stood not a typical Concordat messenger, but a towering Zixterian, its crystalline body refracting the bay's lights into a dazzling array of colors. The alien's voice resonated directly in her mind, bypassing her neural implant entirely. Zara Chen of Earth, we bring tidings of great import, the Zixterian intoned. The Grand Arbiter of Nexus Prime has passed beyond the veil of stars. In his final decree, he has named you, a human, as his heir and successor. Zara blinked, certain she had misheard. What? There must be some mistake. I've never even been to Nexus Prime. The Zixterian's crystalline form pulsed with what might have been amusement. The ways of the Grand Arbiter are beyond mortal comprehension. You have been chosen. The throne of Nexus Prime awaits. As the news spread through the spaceport like wildfire, Zara found herself at the center of a storm of controversy. Nexus Prime, a world at the heart of 7 intersecting wormholes, was the linchpin of galactic commerce and diplomacy. The idea of a human ruling such a crucial world sent shockwaves through the Concordat. Within hours, Zara was whisked away on a Concordat flagship, streaking through the cosmos towards her new destiny. As she gazed out at the swirling vortex of hyperspace, her mind raced with questions. Why had the Grand Arbiter chosen her? What challenges awaited on Nexus Prime? And how could she, a human barely out of her 20s, possibly rule a world she'd never even visited? The journey to Nexus Prime was a blur of diplomatic briefings and crash courses in Nexian culture. Zara learned of the world's unique properties, its atmosphere that changed color with the political climate, its sentient oceans that served as living databanks, and its floating cities that rearranged themselves based on complex algorithms of social harmony. As the Concordat flagship dropped out of hyperspace, Zara's breath caught in her throat. Nexus Prime hung before her like a jewel, its 7 wormholes spiraling around it in a cosmic dance. The planet itself seemed to shimmer and shift, as if unsure of its own form. Prepare yourself, Ambassador, the ship's captain, a multi-limbed Ortelian, chittered. The Galactic Council awaits your arrival. Not all are pleased with the Grand Arbiter's decision. Zara squared her shoulders, drawing on every ounce of her diplomatic training. As the ship began its descent towards the planet's surface, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was walking into a den of cosmic vipers, each waiting for her to make a fatal misstep. The landing pad was a sea of alien dignitaries, their forms as varied as the stars themselves. Zara recognized representatives from 100 different worlds, some humanoid, others defying description. At the forefront stood a group that could only be the Galactic Council, beings of immense power and influence, their very presence seeming to warp the fabric of reality around them. As Zara stepped off the ship, a hush fell over the assembled crowd. She could feel the weight of 1,000,000 alien eyes upon her, judging, assessing, wondering how this small human could possibly be worthy of ruling Nexus Prime. The silence was broken by a booming laugh, a sound that seemed to shake the very air. A massive being, its body wreathed in swirling nebulae, stepped forward. So this is the Grand Arbiter's chosen heir, a human child, barely old enough to leave her homeworld's gravity well. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Zara felt her cheeks burn, but she refused to be cowed. She stepped forward, her voice ringing out clear and strong. I am Zara Chen of Earth, chosen heir to the throne of Nexus Prime. I stand ready to serve this world and the Galactic Concordat to the best of my abilities. The nebula-wreathed being, whom Zara now recognized as Zorn, the cosmic adjudicator, sneered, "Pretty words, little human, but Nexus Prime is not some backwater colony to be governed by your primitive notions. This world is the nexus of galactic civilization, the fulcrum upon which the fate of 1,000,000 stars balances. What could you possibly know of such responsibility?" Zara's mind raced, searching for the right response. In that moment, she remembered something from her briefing, a quirk of Nexian biology that might just save her. She took a deep breath and spoke, her words carrying a weight beyond their simple meaning. "I may be young, and I may be human," she began, her voice steady. "But I stand here, chosen by the Grand Arbiter himself. The sentient oceans of Nexus Prime hold the wisdom of eons. If you doubt my worthiness, let us consult them. Let the planet itself judge whether I am fit to rule." A gasp went up from the assembled aliens. To invoke the judgment of Nexus Prime's oceans was no small thing. The waters held memories and knowledge beyond comprehension, and their verdict was considered absolute. Zorn's nebulous form swirled with conflicting emotions. "You dare invoke the oceanic judgment? Do you even understand what you're proposing, human?" Zara met his gaze unflinchingly. "I do, and I submit myself willingly to the wisdom of Nexus Prime." A tense silence fell over the landing pad. Finally Zorn nodded, his voice resonating with reluctant respect. "So be it. The human shall face the oceanic judgment. May the cosmos have mercy on her soul." As Zara was led away towards the shimmering coast of Nexus Prime's sentient sea, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had just jumped from the frying pan into a cosmic fire. But there was no turning back now. The fate of Nexus Prime, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now rested on her shoulders. The procession to the oceanic judgment was a spectacle unlike anything Zara had ever experienced. The floating cities of Nexus Prime rearranged themselves to form a path, their gleaming spires and impossible geometries shifting like a living kaleidoscope. Aliens of every conceivable form lined the route, their curiosity and skepticism palpable. As they approached the shore of the sentient sea, Zara felt a presence brush against her mind. The ocean itself was aware, watching, waiting. She shivered, realizing that this was a test unlike any she had faced before. Zorn, the cosmic adjudicator, raised his nebulous arms. "Behold, the human who would be ruler of Nexus Prime. Let the oceanic judgment commence." Zara took a deep breath and stepped into the shimmering waters. The moment her foot touched the surface, her world exploded into a cacophony of sensations and memories. She saw the birth of stars and the death of galaxies, experienced the rise and fall of civilizations across countless worlds. The collective knowledge of Nexus Prime flooded her consciousness, threatening to overwhelm her very being. But Zara Chen was not one to be easily overwhelmed. Drawing on reserves of strength she didn't know she possessed, she began to sift through the torrent of information. Somewhere in this cosmic data stream was the key to proving her worth, to understanding why the Grand Arbiter had chosen her. As the assembled aliens watched in awe, Zara's body began to glow with an inner light. The waters around her swirled and pulsed, forming intricate patterns that seemed to defy the laws of physics. For what felt like an eternity, she stood there, locked in silent communion with the sentient ocean. Finally, with a gasp, Zara emerged from the waters. Her eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and when she spoke, her voice carried echoes of ancient wisdom. "I have been judged," she declared, her words reverberating across the assembled crowd. "And I have been found worthy." A murmur of disbelief rippled through the aliens. Zorn floated forward, his nebulous form crackling with energy. Impossible. No being has ever survived the full oceanic judgment, let alone a human. Zara met his gaze, a small smile playing on her lips. Perhaps that is why the Grand Arbiter chose me. Nexus Prime stands at a crossroads, Zorn. The old ways are changing. The galaxy needs a new perspective, a bridge between worlds. That is what I offer. As if in response to her words, the planet itself seemed to shift. The sky above blazed with new colors, and the floating cities rearranged themselves into a pattern never before seen. It was as if Nexus Prime itself was declaring its approval. Zorn's form swirled with conflicting emotions. Finally, he bowed his nebulous head. The oceanic judgment has spoken. Zara Chen of Earth, you are indeed the rightful heir to the throne of Nexus Prime. May your reign bring wisdom to the stars. As the assembled aliens began to kneel, Zara felt the weight of her new responsibility settle upon her shoulders. She had passed the first test, but she knew that greater challenges lay ahead. The galaxy was watching, waiting to see what this human ruler would do. With a deep breath, Zara stepped forward to address her new subjects. People of Nexus Prime, honored representatives of the Galactic Concordat, she began, her voice carrying across the shimmering landscape. I stand before you not as a conqueror, but as a servant. Together, we will forge a new path for Nexus Prime and for the galaxy itself. Let this be the dawn of a new era of cooperation and understanding between all sentient beings. As cheers erupted from the crowd, Zara couldn't help but smile. Her journey was just beginning, but she was ready to face whatever the cosmos might throw her way. The human who inherited an alien world was about to show the galaxy what humanity was truly capable of. Rising to the challenge, the Nexian Gambit. As the twin suns of Nexus Prime rose over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of lavender and gold, Zara Chen stood atop the crystal spire, the seat of planetary governance. Her emerald eyes scanned the ever-shifting cityscape below, marveling at the impossible architecture that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. Your Luminance, a melodious voice chimed, interrupting her reverie. Zara turned to see her chief advisor, a quasar-born entity named Lux, whose body was composed of pure light and cosmic radiation. The Galactic Council demands your presence. It seems they have concerns about your first decree. Zara sighed, straightening her ceremonial robes, a blend of Terran silk and bioluminescent Nexian fibers that shimmered with every movement. I expected as much, Lux. Let's not keep them waiting. As they made their way through the corridors of the Crystal Spire, Zara couldn't help but reflect on the whirlwind of the past week. From the moment she had passed the oceanic judgment, she had been thrust into a maelstrom of political intrigue and interstellar diplomacy that would make Earth's most seasoned politicians blanch. The council chamber was a marvel of alien engineering, a vast, spherical room where gravity could be adjusted on a whim, allowing representatives from 1,000 different worlds to comfortably coexist. As Zara entered, she felt the familiar weight of countless alien gazes upon her. Zorn, the cosmic adjudicator, floated at the center of the chamber, his nebulous form swirling with barely contained frustration. Ruler Chen, he boomed, not bothering with formal titles, explain yourself. Your decree to open Nexus Prime's wormhole network to all species, regardless of technological advancement, is madness. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the assembled counselors. Zara took a deep breath, centering herself. This was the moment she had prepared for. Esteemed members of the Galactic Council, she began, her voice clear and unwavering. For too long, Nexus Prime has been a nexus of exclusion, its wonders and opportunities reserved for only the most advanced civilizations. But progress isn't just about technological prowess. It's about diversity of thought, of experience, of perspective. She gestured, and a holographic display sprang to life around her, showcasing the myriad wonders of the galaxy. Imagine the innovations that could arise from the meeting of minds across the cosmic spectrum. the Quixilian hive minds collaborating with the silicon-based intelligences of Omega Centauri, the energy beings of the Horsehead Nebula exchanging ideas with the aquatic scholars of Europa. Zara's eyes blazed with passion as she continued, Nexus Prime stands at the crossroads of the galaxy. It's time we truly became a nexus, not just of trade routes, but of ideas, of cultures, of dreams. The chamber erupted into a cacophony of alien voices, some supportive, others vehemently opposed. Zorn's form crackled with energy as he spoke over the din. A pretty speech, Ruler Chen, but words alone cannot safeguard our worlds from the potential dangers of such unrestricted access. Zara smiled, a glint of challenge in her eye. You're absolutely right, Adjudicator Zorn, which is why I've developed the Nexian Gambit. With a wave of her hand, the holographic display transformed, showcasing a complex network of energy fields and quantum algorithms. This system will allow us to welcome all species while maintaining the highest levels of security. It's a blend of Earth's most advanced AI protocols and Nexian quantum computing, with a dash of Zixterian probability manipulation. The chamber fell silent as the councillors studied the display, their alien minds grappling with the implications of Zara's proposal. It was unprecedented, a security system that could adapt to threats in real time, learning and evolving with each interaction. Zorn floated closer, his nebulous form rippling with what might have been grudging respect. This Nexian Gambit of yours, it's theoretically impressive, but untested. The risks. Our mind to bear, Zara interrupted, her voice firm. I propose a trial period, one standard galactic cycle. If the Gambit proves successful, we move forward with full implementation. If not, I will step down as ruler of Nexus Prime. Gasps echoed through the chamber. For a ruler to state their position on a single policy was unheard of in galactic politics. It was a bold move, perhaps too bold, some whispered. Lux, ever the voice of caution, whispered in Zara's mind, Your luminance, are you certain? This is a dangerous gamble. Zara's response was a soft smile and a thought projected back. The greatest discoveries in history have always come from taking risks, Lux. It's time the galaxy remembered that. Aloud, she addressed the council once more. My fellow beings of the cosmos, I stand before you not just as the ruler of Nexus Prime, but as a representative of humanity. My species is young in galactic terms, but we have always pushed boundaries, always strived to reach further than we thought possible. The Nexian Gambit embodies that spirit, the belief that we are stronger together, that diversity is not a weakness to be feared, but a strength to be embraced. As she spoke, something remarkable began to happen. The sentient oceans of Nexus Prime, connected to the crystal spire through a network of living conduits, began to pulse with an otherworldly light. The very air seemed to vibrate with potential energy. Zorn's form expanded, tendrils of cosmic matter reaching out to interact with the holographic display. After what seemed like an eternity, he spoke, his voice resonating through the chamber. The oceanic consciousness approves of your gambit, Ruler Chen. It seems Nexus Prime itself wishes to see this experiment unfold. A hush fell over the assembled councillors. The endorsement of the planet's sentient core was not something to be taken lightly. One by one, representatives from across the galaxy signaled their assent, some enthusiastically, others with clear reservations. Zara felt a weight lift from her shoulders, even as a new one settled in its place. She had won this battle, but the real challenge was just beginning. The eyes of the galaxy would be upon Nexus Prime watching, waiting to see if this human ruler's audacious plan would usher in a new era of cosmic cooperation, or plunge the galactic core into chaos. As the council session adjourned, Zara found herself surrounded by a whirlwind of alien diplomats, some offering congratulations, others thinly veiled warnings. Through it all, she maintained her composure, the lessons of her diplomatic training serving her well. It wasn't until she was back in her private chambers, overlooking the ever-shifting cityscape of Nexus Prime, that Zara allowed herself a moment of vulnerability. "What have I done, Lux?" she whispered, her voice barely audible. The quasar-born advisor's form shimmered with sympathetic light. "You have done what great leaders throughout history have always done, Your Luminance. You have dared to dream of a better future." Zara nodded, squaring her shoulders. The die was cast. The Nexian gambit was underway. Now she had to prove to the galaxy that humanity's audacity, creativity, and unrelenting spirit could forge a path to a brighter cosmic future. As the first ships from previously excluded civilizations began to arrive through the wormhole network, Zara felt a mix of excitement and trepidation. The next galactic cycle would determine not just her fate, but potentially the fate of cosmic civilization itself. With a deep breath, she turned to Lux, her eyes gleaming with determination. "Well then, let's make history." Little did Zara know that far beyond the shimmering borders of Nexus Prime, ancient forces were stirring. The Nexian Gambit had set in motion events that would shake the very foundations of the galaxy and test humanity's place among the stars in ways she could never have imagined. As the twin suns of Nexus Prime set, casting the world in an ethereal twilight, Zara Chen, the human who dared to change the cosmic order, prepared herself for the challenges that lay ahead. The galaxy watched, waited, and wondered. Would this audacious experiment lead to a new golden age, or would it be the catalyst for conflicts beyond imagination? Only time, measured in the vast, incomprehensible scale of the cosmos, would tell. Uncovering a conspiracy, the shadows between stars. As the chrono display in Zara's quarters flickered to mark the halfway point of the Nexian Gambit's trial period, the human ruler of Nexus Prime found herself at the center of a galactic maelstrom. The wormhole network, now open to civilizations previously excluded, hummed with unprecedented activity. Ships of all shapes and sizes, some barely holding together and others defying known physics, streamed through the shimmering portals that connected Nexus Prime to the far reaches of the cosmos. "Your Luminance," Lux chimed, his photonic form pulsing with urgency. "We have a situation in Quadrant Zeta 9. A dispute between the silicon-based Volterans and the plasma entities of Novo. It's escalating rapidly." Zora's emerald eyes narrowed as she studied the holographic display. "Deploy the Harmony drones. Let's see if our new conflict resolution algorithms can handle this." As she watched the swarm of iridescent, AI-driven peacekeepers zoom towards the brewing confrontation, Zara couldn't shake a growing sense of unease. The Nexian Gambit had brought wonders beyond imagination, groundbreaking scientific collaborations, cultural exchanges that redefined art across 1,000 worlds, economic booms that lifted entire star systems out of poverty. But with each passing day, the challenges seemed to multiply exponentially. A chime from her quantum-entangled communicator drew her attention. "Ruler Chen," Zon's voice crackled through, tinged with a mixture of respect and exasperation. "The Galactic Council requests your immediate presence. There have been developments." Zora's heart raced as she made her way to the council chamber. The past months had been a delicate dance of diplomacy and innovation, pushing the boundaries of what was possible while trying to maintain the delicate balance of galactic politics. She had made allies, yes, but also powerful enemies who saw her reforms as a threat to the old order. As she entered the spherical chamber, the usual cacophony of alien voices fell silent. Zara felt the weight of countless eyes upon her, some curious, some hopeful, others filled with barely concealed hostility. Zorn's nebulous form swirled at the center of the chamber, tendrils of cosmic energy reaching out to manipulate a complex holographic display. "Ruler Chen," he intoned, "we've detected anomalies in the wormhole network. Fluctuations that cannot be explained by increased traffic alone." The display zoomed in on a particular nexus point, where streams of quantum data twisted and warped in impossible patterns. Zara's mind raced, drawing on both her human intuition and the vast knowledge imparted by the oceanic judgment. "It's as if something is feeding on the energy of the wormholes," she murmured. A ripple of unease passed through the assembled counselors. An arthropodian representative, its chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the chamber's lights, clicked its mandibles in agitation. "Is this the price of your human recklessness, Ruler Chen? Have you opened our gates to some cosmic parasite?" Before Zara could respond, alarms blared throughout the crystal spire. The holographic display erupted into chaos, showing wormholes across the network flickering and destabilizing. "By the cosmic egg," Zorn breathed, his form expanding in shock. "The entire network is collapsing." Panic gripped the council chamber. Representatives from 100 worlds clamored for answers, for action, for someone to blame. Zara stood at the eye of the storm, her mind working furiously to process the flood of information. In that moment of crisis, something clicked. A pattern in the chaos, visible perhaps only to her unique blend of human intuition and Nexian cosmic awareness. "It's not random," she declared, her voice cutting through the din. "This is a coordinated attack." Silence fell over the chamber as all eyes turned to her. Zara strode to the central console, her fingers dancing over the controls with preternatural speed. The holographic display shifted, zooming out to show the entire galactic arm. "Look," she said, highlighting a series of points across the map. "These disturbances, they're not just affecting the busiest nodes. They're targeting specific points in the network, points that, when destabilized, would cut off entire sectors from the rest of the galaxy." Zorn floated closer, his nebulous form crackling with intense focus. "Impossible. Unless someone had intimate knowledge of the network's structure," Zara finished. "Knowledge that only a select few should possess." The implications hung heavy in the air. A conspiracy at the highest levels of galactic governance, using the chaos of the Nexian Gambit as cover for a massive power grab. But who? The question came from a dozen alien throats at once. Zara's mind raced, piecing together fragments of information, whispered rumors, and half-forgotten warnings. "The Eternal Concordance," she breathed, the name sending a chill through the chamber. Legends spoke of the Eternal Concordance, a shadowy cabal said to have shaped galactic events from the shadows for eons. Most dismissed them as myth, a bogeyman invented to explain the inexplicable twists of cosmic politics. But Zara had seen hints, echoes in the vast sea of knowledge imparted by the oceanic judgment. "They're real," she continued, her voice gaining strength, "and they see the Nexian Gambit as a threat to their control. By destabilizing the wormhole network, they hope to plunge the galaxy into chaos, discredit my rule, and reassert their dominance." Zorn's form pulsed with a mixture of disbelief and dawning horror. "If you're right, Ruler Chen, we face a threat unlike any in living memory. The Concordance's tendrils may reach into every major power in the galaxy. Who can we trust?" Zara squared her shoulders, feeling the weight of history upon them. "We trust in each other," she declared. The Nexian Gambit was about more than just opening borders. It was about forging new bonds, new alliances. Now, we put those to the test. With a wave of her hand, she brought up communications channels to every world connected to the wormhole network. "People of the galaxy," she began, her voice carried across light years, translated into 1,000 alien tongues. "We face a crisis engineered by those who would keep us divided, who fear the power of our unity. But we will not let them succeed." As Zara outlined the threat and called for a united response, something remarkable began to happen. Ships from across the cosmos, from mighty battle cruisers to humble trading vessels, began to converge on the affected wormhole nodes. Species that had been bitter enemies mere months ago now worked in concert, pooling their unique abilities to stabilize the faltering network. In the council chamber, representatives who had once sneered at the idea of collaborating with lesser species now worked feverishly alongside them, coordinating the galaxy-wide effort to save the wormholes and track down the conspirators. Zara felt a swell of pride as she watched the galactic community come together. This was what she had dreamed of when she proposed the Nexian Gambit, a cosmos united not by fear or domination, but by a shared vision of a better future. But even as the immediate crisis began to abate, Zara knew that the real battle was just beginning. The Eternal Concordance would not give up their power easily. They had resources beyond imagination, agents in every seat of power across the galaxy. As the twin suns of Nexus Prime rose once more, bathing the crystal spire in otherworldly light, Zara Chen, the human who had dared to reshape galactic society, prepared herself for the fight of her life. The fate of not just Nexus Prime, but of cosmic civilization itself, hung in the balance. Little did she know that far beyond the shimmering borders of known space, ancient powers were stirring. The Nexian Gambit had set in motion events that would shake the very foundations of reality and test humanity's place among the stars in ways beyond imagination. As Zara gazed out at the swirling wormholes that connected her adopted world to the vast tapestry of the cosmos, she felt a mix of determination and trepidation. The coming conflict would push her to her limits, forcing her to confront not just external threats, but the very nature of her own humanity. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see if this audacious human and her unlikely allies could unravel a conspiracy eons in the making and forge a new path for all sentient beings. The stage was set for a cosmic drama unlike any other, a tale of intrigue, betrayal, and the indomitable spirit of a species that refused to accept the limitations others placed upon them. As the chrono display ticked forward, marking the beginning of a new galactic day, Zara Chen, ruler of Nexus Prime, took a deep breath and plunged into the unknown. The hunt for the Eternal Concordance had begun, and with it, a new chapter in the history of the cosmos. Rallying support, the Quantum Rebellion. The Nexian Gambit had evolved into something far greater than Zara Chen could have ever imagined. What began as a bold initiative to open galactic borders had transformed into a full-scale rebellion against the shadowy forces that had manipulated cosmic civilization for eons. As Zara stood in the newly christened Quantum Command Center, deep within the crystal spire, she marveled at the unlikely alliance she had forged. "Status report," she called out, her voice carrying across the bustling chamber, filled with representatives from 100 different species. A holographic display sprang to life, showcasing the vast expanse of the galaxy. Red markers indicated wormhole nodes still under the control of the Eternal Concordance, while blue markers showed liberated sectors. "We've secured the Andromeda Arm, Your Luminance," reported K-Thax, a hyper-intelligent cephalopod whose tentacles danced across a dozen interfaces simultaneously. But the Concordance's grip on the Cygnus Void remains unbroken. Zara nodded, her emerald eyes narrowing as she studied the strategic layout. The past months had been a whirlwind of covert operations, daring raids, and nail-biting diplomatic maneuverings. For every victory against the Eternal Concordance, there had been setbacks that threatened to unravel everything they had fought for. "Your Luminance," Lux chimed in, his photonic form pulsing with urgency. "We're receiving a transmission from the Void Dancers of Epsilon Eridani. They claim to have uncovered something unprecedented." With a wave of her hand, Zara brought up the transmission. The holographic form of Xylith, leader of the Void Dancers, shimmered into view. The being's ethereal body, composed of what appeared to be living starlight, rippled with excitement. "Ruler Chen," Xylith's voice resonated, carrying overtones that hinted at realities beyond human comprehension. "We've discovered the true nature of the Eternal Concordance's power. They're not just manipulating the wormhole network, they're tapping into the fundamental fabric of spacetime itself." A hush fell over the command center as the implications sank in. Zara's mind raced, drawing on both her human intuition and the cosmic knowledge imparted by the oceanic judgment. "The quantum foam," she breathed, the pieces falling into place. "They're harvesting energy from the quantum fluctuations that underlie reality." Shilith's form pulsed in affirmation. "Precisely. But in doing so, they risk unraveling the very cosmos they seek to control. The strain on the universal constants is reaching a critical point." Zara's heart raced as she processed this information. The stakes had just been raised exponentially. This wasn't just about galactic politics anymore. The fate of reality itself hung in the balance. "We need a new strategy," she declared, her voice carrying the weight of command. "If we can't beat them through conventional means, we'll have to fight fire with fire." "You're not suggesting?" Zorn's nebulous form swirled with concern as he materialized in the command center. Zara nodded, a glint of determination in her eye. "We're going to build our own quantum tap. But instead of harvesting energy, we're going to use it to rewrite the rules of engagement." The command center erupted into a flurry of activity as Zara outlined her audacious plan. Drawing on the collective knowledge of 100 alien civilizations, they would construct a device capable of manipulating the quantum foam on a scale never before attempted. "It's madness," muttered an arthropodian scientist, its mandibles clicking nervously. "The energy required, the precision needed." "Which is exactly why it might work," Zara countered. "The Eternal Concordance won't expect it. They've grown complacent in their power, never imagining that anyone could challenge them on this level." As the plans took shape, Zara couldn't help but marvel at the team she had assembled. Beings that would have been bitter enemies mere months ago now worked in perfect harmony. The silicon-based Volterans collaborated with energy entities from the heart of neutron stars, while time-displaced Chronosapiens provided insights from futures yet to unfold. But even as hope began to flourish, new challenges arose. The Eternal Concordance, sensing the shift in the cosmic balance, launched a series of devastating counterattacks. Entire star systems were cut off from the wormhole network, plunging billions into isolation and chaos. Zara found herself stretched to the breaking point, coordinating relief efforts while simultaneously overseeing the construction of their quantum device. There were moments of doubt, of fear, when the weight of her responsibilities threatened to crush her. It was in one such moment, as she stood alone on a balcony overlooking the ever-shifting cityscape of Nexus Prime, that Lux approached her. "Your Luminance," the quasar-born entity's voice was gentle. "The Council is asking for you. There's been a development." Zara sighed, squaring her shoulders. "What now, Lux? Another crisis? Another impossible choice?" Lux's photonic form shimmered with what might have been amusement. "Actually, Your Luminance, I think you want to see this for yourself." Intrigued, Zara followed her advisor to the council chamber. As the doors slid open, she was greeted by a sight that took her breath away. The chamber was packed, not just with the usual councillors, but with representatives from every corner of the galaxy. And at the center of it all, Mom, Dad. Zara's voice cracked with emotion as she saw her parents, looking somewhat bewildered but undeniably proud. "Hey there, Starburst," her father said, using the childhood nickname she hadn't heard in years. "Heard you could use a little help from Earth." As Zara embraced her parents, tears of joy streaming down her face, she became aware of the expectant hush that had fallen over the chamber. Zorn floated forward, his nebulous form crackling with barely contained excitement. "Ruler Chen," he intoned, "representatives from Earth have brought us a gift. Something they call Project Prometheus, a breakthrough in quantum entanglement that could be the key to defeating the Eternal Concordance." Zara's mind reeled as she examined the schematics. It was elegant, brilliant, and quintessentially human, a solution that combined cutting-edge science with audacious creativity. "How?" she began, looking at her parents in wonder. Her mother smiled, a twinkle in her eye. "Let's just say your adventures out here have inspired quite a few people back home. Earth may be young in galactic terms, but we've got a few tricks up our sleeves." As the implications sank in, Zara felt a surge of hope unlike anything she had experienced since taking the throne of Nexus Prime. With Earth's contribution, their chances of success had just increased exponentially. "All right, people," she called out, her voice ringing with newfound determination. "Let's show the Eternal Concordance what happens when you mess with humanity and our friends." The chamber erupted in cheers, a cacophony of alien voices united in purpose. As Zara began to outline their new strategy, incorporating Earth's quantum breakthrough with the vast knowledge of their cosmic allies, she couldn't help but feel a sense of destiny. This was why the Grand Arbiter had chosen her. This was why humanity had reached for the stars. In the face of an enemy that threatened the very fabric of reality, it would be the combined strength of a united galaxy, with humanity's indomitable spirit at its core, that would save creation itself. As the twin suns of Nexus Prime set once more, casting a world in ethereal twilight, Zara Chen, the human who had become the fulcrum upon which the fate of the cosmos balanced, prepared for the final battle. With her newfound allies, both alien and human, she would face the eternal concordance and fight for a future where all beings, from the smallest microbe to the mightiest cosmic entity, could thrive in harmony. The stage was set for a confrontation that would echo across time and space, a battle not just for control of the galaxy, but for the very nature of reality itself. And at the heart of it all stood a young woman from Earth, proof that even the smallest beings could shape the destiny of the stars. A new galactic order, the cosmic singularity. The moment of truth had arrived. Zara Chen, once a mere human diplomat, now stood at the helm of the most ambitious undertaking in cosmic history. The combined fleet of the Quantum Rebellion hung in the void of space, a dazzling array of ships from 1,000 different worlds, all united under a single cause. Before them loomed the Eternity Citadel, stronghold of the Eternal Concordance. It was a structure that defied comprehension, a massive sphere that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, its surface rippling with quantum distortions. "All ships, report in," Zara's voice rang out across the quantum-entangled comms. A chorus of affirmatives followed, each alien race contributing their unique abilities to the cause. At the heart of their fleet was the Prometheus Array, Earth's groundbreaking contribution to the war effort. It was a marvel of human ingenuity combined with alien technology, a web of quantum-entangled particles that could, in theory, rewrite the very laws of physics on a localized scale. "Your luminance," Lux chimed, his photonic form pulsing with nervous energy. "The Eternal Concordance has detected our presence. They're powering up their quantum tap." Zara nodded, her emerald eyes narrowed in concentration. "Just as we expected. All ships, initiate Operation Cosmic Reboot." The battle that ensued was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. The Eternal Concordance unleashed waves of reality-warping energy, entire squadrons of ships blinking out of existence only to reappear as clouds of subatomic particles. But the Quantum Rebellion was ready. Ships piloted by the time-displaced Chronosapiens danced through the time stream, appearing and disappearing in a dizzying ballet that confounded the Concordance's predictive algorithms. Voltaran cruisers fired beams of pure information, hacking into the quantum fabric of space itself. At the center of it all, Zara directed the symphony of chaos with preternatural calm. The knowledge imparted by the oceanic judgment merged with her human intuition, allowing her to see patterns in the madness that surrounded them. "Void dancers, now," she commanded. A fleet of ships crewed by the ethereal beings of Epsilon Eridani surged forward, their vessels facing in and out of reality. They penetrated the outer defenses of the Eternity Citadel, creating a breach in its seemingly impenetrable shield. "Prometheus Array, prepare for activation." Zara's voice was steady, but her heart raced. This was the moment everything hinged on. If it worked, they would reshape the galaxy. If it failed, well, total universal collapse was a distinct possibility. As the array powered up, drawing energy from the quantum foam itself, alarms blared throughout the command ship. "Your luminance." Cathax's tentacles danced frantically across his console. The Concordance. They're attempting to trigger a false vacuum decay. Zara's blood ran cold. A false vacuum decay would be catastrophic, potentially unraveling the entire universe in an instant. "They're insane," she breathed. "They'd rather destroy everything than relinquish control." In that moment, as the fate of all creation hung in the balance, Zara made a decision that would echo across eternity. "Divert all power to the Prometheus Array," she commanded. "We're going to beat them at their own game." The ship shuddered as unimaginable energies coursed through it. Zara felt a tugging sensation, as if her very atoms were being pulled in 1,000 different directions. The viewport before her fractured, showing glimpses of other realities, worlds where the eternal concordance had won, where they had never existed at all, where the very concepts of time and space held no meaning. With a final surge of will, Zara activated the array. A pulse of pure quantum potential exploded outward, engulfing the Eternity Citadel and rippling across the galaxy. For a moment that stretched into infinity, everything stopped. The universe held its breath. Then, with a soundless roar that shook the foundations of reality, the cosmos rebooted. Zara blinked, her mind struggling to process what had just happened. The Eternity Citadel was gone, replaced by a swirling mass of quantum potential. The ships of the Quantum Rebellion hung motionless in space, their crews frozen in time. Did we win? Kithax's voice was barely a whisper. Before Zara could respond, a new presence made itself known. It was vast, incomprehensible, a being of pure quantum information that existed in all places and all times simultaneously. Gigroitangias, Zaoracen of Earth, the entity's voice resonated not just in her ears, but in the very core of her being. We are Tihi Sahengularitioi, Bioan from Dihi Fayuzilion of Dihi Eternal Sion Cortance, and the Tihi Piwaromihius Array. Zara's mind reeled. What? What do you want? The Singularity's response was tinged with what might have been amusement. Want. We are B1 such currency PTS now. But we read an MBR. We read an MBR to passion, the determination, the AOP that DROVU and your allies, and we AKV decide ED. With a thought, the Singularity reshaped reality. The frozen ships sprang back to life, their crews unaware that anything had happened. The quantum distortions that had threatened to tear the universe apart smoothed out, leaving behind a cosmos more vibrant and interconnected than ever before. We will WATG, the Singularity declared. We will guide when needed, but the future of DSGLXY, of all JLXIs, belongs to those who dare to DREM, to reach beyond their limitations. It belongs to you, Zauracen, and to all who stood with you. With that, the Singularity faded from perception, becoming one with the quantum fabric of the universe itself. As the fleet of the Quantum Rebellion cheered their victory, Zara stood in stunned silence. They had won, yes, but the implications of what had just occurred were beyond her ability to fully grasp. In the days that followed, the galaxy experienced a renaissance unlike anything in cosmic history. The wormhole network, now freed from the manipulations of the eternal concordance, flourished. New connections formed between civilizations that had never before interacted, leading to an explosion of cultural and technological exchange. Nexus Prime, under Zara's leadership, became a shining beacon of unity and progress. The Nexian Gambit, once mocked as a human's folly, was now hailed as the catalyst that had ushered in a new golden age for all sentient beings. As Zara stood once more atop the crystal spire, gazing out at the ever-shifting cityscape below, she felt a profound sense of both accomplishment and humility. They had faced the greatest threat in the history of the cosmos and emerged victorious. But the real work, she knew, was just beginning. Your Luminance, Lux's voice interrupted her reverie. The Galactic Council is assembled. They're ready to ratify the new Charter of Cosmic Cooperation. Zara nodded, a smile playing on her lips. Let's not keep them waiting. We've got a universe to build. As she made her way to the council chamber, Zara couldn't help but marvel at the journey that had brought her here. From a young diplomat on Earth to the leader who had reshaped the very fabric of cosmic society, it had been a path filled with challenges, triumphs, and surprises at every turn. The doors to the chamber slid open, revealing a sea of alien faces, old allies and former enemies alike, now united in a shared vision for the future. And as Zara stepped forward to address them, she knew that this was just the beginning. The cosmos stretched out before them, infinite in its possibilities. And humanity, once a small, isolated species on a tiny blue planet, now stood at the forefront of a new era of galactic exploration and cooperation. The human who had inherited an alien world had done more than just claim a throne. She had unlocked the true potential of not just her own species, but of all sentient life in the universe. As Zara began to speak, outlining her vision for this brave new cosmic order, the assembled representatives leaned forward, eager to hear what this remarkable human would say next. For in her words, they heard the echo of a truth that resonated across the stars. In the vast, infinite expanse of the cosmos, it was not power or technology that would shape the future. It was courage, compassion, and the undying spirit of those who dared to dream of a better tomorrow. And as the twin suns of Nexus Prime set on this new chapter in galactic history, the universe itself seemed to hum with the potential of what was yet to come.